What's going on, family? This is Anthony Walker, and today is Finance Friday. And today is also January 1st, 2021. So shout out to all of us for making it out of 2020. And also big shout out to my wife because yesterday we celebrated our 10-year anniversary. I really appreciate you for holding me down for all these years, my love. So just shout out to you. And today is episode 4 of Black Wealth Principles. And the fourth principle of Black Wealth is community love. And when I started creating Black Wealth Principles, one of my goals was to map out the assets that we have within our community. Like what are we strong at? What do we hold and do well? And also talk about some of the liabilities, some of the things that we could do to improve, that we could do to improve our community economically and just socially, right? And to me, I believe that community love is one of our strongest assets. Just love for community and giving back is something that's mandatory for all Black people. I think we do a good job of holding ourselves and other people accountable to that idea. I think what we don't have is we don't have enough, or we haven't created enough conversation around what that actually looks like for us going forward and how to strategically give back in a way that improves our condition over time. So today I'm going to hopefully shed some light on some ideas to do that. And before I talk about some of those ideas, I want to share a story because I think that this is an example, the strongest example I've ever experienced of mutual aid and community love and giving back. And I seen it when I went to Jamaica in 2017. Me and my wife went for our honeymoon. And, we were riding through different cities in Jamaica, and we noticed that there was a lot of houses that were at different stages in their development of being built. And after a while, we got a little curious and we started to ask locals, just little questions about that. And somebody explained to us that essentially what they do is they raise money to buy land. First, they buy the land. Then they raise some more money and they buy materials. And once they have materials, they call on the community to come and they do something called a building party where everybody comes in and they give their labor to this particular structure. And that's why some houses only have foundations. And then, you get more money, you build the whole house on top of that structure. So I thought that was the most powerful example that I've ever seen of mutual aid, right? Because the expectation is as a community member, you come and help when somebody else needs their house built. But when you need your house built, the expectation will also be for the community to come help you build your house, right? So it's like you're giving to your community, but you're also giving to yourself because of this system and this structure that's been created. And I think there's a lot of powerful lessons that could be taken from that example that I think need to be applied to our context here in the United States. And I think that example is not something that I've seen in America at all, right? So that's why I think it's so important that we take those lessons and apply them. And the first lesson that I got from that example is that we need to give away our labor for free. And I'm not telling you that if you're an accountant, you need to go do accounting for everybody for free. What I'm saying is that if you're an accountant, go ahead and charge people for your accounting services. But on the weekend, find something that you could volunteer your time, your labor, your energy, your effort into that goes back into our community that you're doing as a free service. I think that every Black person should be able to articulate what your services that you do for free to our community. You should also be able to articulate what your services that you charge for. But right now we're talking about just that community love and not being scared to just give freely, right? The second thing I think is super important about that example is when they built those houses, they were creating they were giving back in a way that was a structural change, something that is going to be there for a long period of time, right? And I think that as Black folks, we do a great job of giving back, but sometimes our giving is charitable, right? And the thing about charitable giving is it's a one-time thing, and we feel good because we gave that gift, and we might have met somebody's material need. But I think to build on top of that, we need to think of strategies and ways that we could give into a pot or give back in a way that what we create and what we give to is structural. It's still there. It's material. It'll be there in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. That's how we strategize and look forward further and in ways that we could build our community like that. I think a third thing that was super impactful and important about what I seen them doing is that they weren't thinking about the individual. It wasn't this individualism that often is glorified in American media, right? It was all about the collective, all about the group. And I think that's important. I think the idea of being self-made is a falsity, especially for black folks, because it was somebody's auntie, your auntie, cousin, sister, mom, brother, dad, somebody was taking care of you. And I think it's extremely important that we shake off this idea of just rugged individualism that comes from white supremacy in American culture, right? And the last thing I think is super important is whatever helped raise us or grow us when we were growing up, we need to plant seeds back into that particular thing, or whoever helped raise us or grow us. We need to plant seeds back into that person. So like, for example, I played football when I was growing up. And at one point when I was done playing football, I went back and I coached. So it's important that we give back to the things that help grow us, and the people that help grow us. We need to go to those people, the people that are doing the good work in our community that helped us somehow. We need to go back and see how we could support them, see what it is that we could do to help what they have going on and make sure that their work is sustainable. So those are just a couple things I think we need to make sure we do to continue to grow our community love. We need to invest our time and our labor freely, give it away. The second thing is we need to make sure that we're making investments into our community that grow into structural changes, not just charity, but solidarity and structural change that goes further. And the third thing is plant seeds in whatever ground that grew you. Just like the fruits of the trees, man. That's exactly what the fruit does. It grows, it produces fruit, it produces a seed, and it goes right back into the ground. So we can continue to create that ecosystem, and so black wealth can be not only held by us but held by our community, not just today but for the long term. This is Anthony Walker. Today's Finance Friday. I holla. Peace.